Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Rinpoche from Scotland.
Hello. So, yesterday we were talking about the sixth of the Eightfold Path, the right effort. And as usual, I forgot to say the most important thing. The most important thing is that, we need to we need to practice, and of course we have to do it in a joyful way, as we discussed yesterday, but we have to do it in a kind of continuous and more kind of how you call it, something that consistently be consistently doing something and working on it gives result. And we do something very strongly, very enthusiastically, very hardworking for some time, and then leave it. That kind of thing doesn't give much result. So the consistency, so this right effort is to have this motivated, having patient, that means like consistent, and very clear about what we want to do. And so when these three things are there, then I think it's the right effort. Now today, we come to the seventh Eightfold Path, and that's the mindfulness. Mindfulness is basically it has two aspects to it. One is to become aware, and another thing is to remember. And in the Sanskrit word, the original word has this the smriti or sati. In Pali they call it sati, but in Sanskrit you call it smriti. That means actually remember. So the Tibetan word tenpa is also a kind of remembering. So what it actually means is to know what's going on, and then to remember what to do at that time. So this makes it mindfulness. So when we are mindful, then we become aware, we are clear what's happening. And so therefore, we are there, we are, aware of what is going on. And there is a kind of a clarity of our mind, to know what is the, what we are supposed to, do or act or react or not to react or whatever. So therefore, when we talk about mindfulness, nowadays we have mindfulness meditations. It's not nowadays, it's always been. We can have mindfulness meditations, but we can be just mindful. And maybe it's, in one way it's same, but in another way it's not totally same. Just being mindful is, knowing what's going on. You are just aware what's going on. And then, when you know what's going on, then you also know what, all the kind of information you have, all the understandings you have, all the instructions you have, this kind of is there in the mind. So therefore you can use them. So like you just become aware what, like when you're about to do something, you are aware that I am doing this. And then you can be clear whether that is something you should do, or become clear whether that is something that you should not do. Or you are, about to say something. And then when you become, aware that I am, saying something or about to say something, then you know what you are about to say. And then you kind of know what is to say, what is not to say, how much to say, how little to say, in what way to speak, and all these kind of things becomes clear. So that's mindfulness. Same thing with your mind. When a thought comes or emotion comes, or some kind of a idea comes, or a reaction comes, then you become aware, and then you can decide to go on, you can decide to let go, you can decide to react, you can decide not to react, you can, depending on your understanding and on your, training and on your clarity and wisdom. So therefore, as I said earlier, mindfulness is the tool. We have to train ourselves to practice. We have only that tool. Sometimes we call it awareness and mindfulness, but awareness and mindfulness are not so much different. And it's, mindfulness itself has kind of both in it. And that's how we practice. We practice, my practice means I just a little bit, I'm not always like completely like so you know, so too much aware, not like that, like what's going on, like not like that, but we, you know, relaxedly, kind of joyfully, peacefully, a little bit understand or aware what's going on, you know. And when I know that, then, you know, how to act, how to react, how to speak, how not to, whether to do something or not to do something, or, you know, what are the consequences of that, you understand. And then if you act accordingly, then you become you know, a mindful person. Means like a person who doesn't do things unthinkingly or without a certain kind of clarity, you know, things like that. So whatever you do, whatever, how you act, and how it becomes, you know, the best of your understanding and your knowledge and your, you know, so therefore, so if we do that, a little bit mindful, then, you know, that's actually training. That's what we call training, because we know, we try to know, we try to understand what is the right way to act or not act or things like that. And then, you know, when we become aware, then we try to. So that's why, you know, when you train in you know, in being mindful, the mindfulness sutra says, you know, like you kind of put forward your right feet, or when you stand up, then you know that you are standing up. Then you put the right foot forward, you know that your right foot is putting forward. Then you put the left foot forward, and you know the left foot is putting forward. So this way you go, you know, and then you want to turn right, you know you are turning right, and then you turn right. You want to turn left, and then you turn left, and you know that you are turning left. So, you know, this is being mindful. So being mindful is, when you are mindful, you are not distracted. When you are not mindful, we are distracted. We are distracted means, you know, we don't know what is going on. You know, we could be walking in one direction, but not knowing I'm going that direction. Sometimes we just go, and then, you know, we didn't want to go that way, but we have been going. Or we don't look, and then, you know, we sometimes fall into a ditch, or, you know, sometimes our mind is maybe on our mobile phone, and so we hit something with head on the, all kind of things. Accidents happen because of not being mindful, you know. All mistakes, most of our mistakes happen because we are not mindful, you know. So therefore, the mindfulness is about that, you know. And this mindfulness has to be, you know, in a very relaxed way, not in a nervous or, you know, in a kind of tense way, you know. If we become tense, again, we lose mindfulness, because we are too much focused on what can happen, or what might happen, or I like this, or I don't like this, or this will be dangerous, or this will be too much, or this will be, you know, lots of expectations, or no, you know, fear and things like that. Then our mind is not really mindful. We are, our mind is occupied by those things, like some result, or, somebody might like it or might not like it, or, things. Because when you are really mindful, then you are only focused on what you are doing. You are not too much focused on, other things. So therefore, it's less tension. There's less tension. There's not much tension. Actually, tension comes from your mind occupied with something like a fear or result or expectation or things like that. But when your mind is just focused on now, just focus on, then usually it's much more relaxed. So therefore, mindfulness, that is mindfulness. And now that mindfulness is, I think it's not very difficult to understand that how important it is for us, because the more mindful we are, the more we are in presence, and we are kind of, the more aware we are, the more clear we are, the more we are somewhere else, and our mind is totally somewhere else. It's not like that. Our mind is where we are. Our mind is focused what we are doing, so therefore the mindfulness is that. Now when this is the mindfulness. So we need this to have our view. Working on our view, we need mindfulness. Working on our all kind of other parameters, like how we think, or how we work with or react with our emotions, or how we speak, or how we conduct ourselves. Mindfulness is the main thing. Without mindfulness, then we cannot really we cannot practice, because that's why Buddha was so much instructing people not to become intoxicated, because when you become intoxicated, you lose mindfulness. You can't be mindfulness and then intoxicated at the same time. So therefore, that's why also they don't allow the police don't allow us to drive cars when we are drunk, because then we are not mindful. So we can create accident or lots of trouble to ourselves and others. So that's exactly the same thing. It's just nothing special about we say this is Dharma, we say this is Dharma practice or meditation, but actually it is something that is really most common thing. Everybody knows. It's in the law. It's in all the kind of everywhere. It's like that. So that's mindfulness. So now this mindfulness. Now how to develop our mindfulness? How to train or practice mindfulness. That is, I think, that's important. Of course, our awareness is there all the time. The nature of our mind is aware. It knows. But our mind is very much, what can you say? You can call it distracted. You can call it everywhere, just very, like very kind of active, lots of thoughts going on, lots of emotions going on, lots of things going on, Yeah, I could be kind of walking this way, but my mind is totally somewhere else. I'm here in this place, but my mind is all over the world, so therefore, I could be, I could be passing somebody, one of my, that I know about, but I may not recognize him because my mind is somewhere else. Things like that, that's, so therefore, what we try to do is a little bit aware of what is going on, sometimes we call it bring your mind to your body. Bring your mind to your body is important because, our mind is, we have this very strong habitual tendency that we are, our mind is everywhere else, and all kind of thoughts going on, all kind of the past and future, it's in the past, in the future, it's somewhere else, and when we are in the past and future and somewhere else, most of the time we are, we are involved in those things, what happened yesterday, what happened the day before, what happened like 10 years before, what happened, when I was a child, and things like that. And many times we are only thinking about things that are not really nice. That's also one of our habits. We are too much kind of habituated to hold on to the problems, and negative things, and difficulties, and things that is not nice. And then sometimes we're in the future, so what should be, what should happen, what should not happen, and fear of happening this, not happening this, and when we are in the past and the future, most of the time we have some kind of a tension. We are tense. We are because if we are thinking about some things that is not totally, was not totally what we wanted to happen, then we are kind of, unhappy. We are feeling kind of not necessarily sad, but thinking about problems. So therefore, our mind is not relaxed, not peaceful, not joyful, and then if we are thinking about the future, most of the time we are worried because we can't really know what will happen in the future. And then all the things that can happen, which will be not good, because our mind is very habituated to think in the wrong, negative way. So all these possible things that can go wrong. So therefore, we will become, again, worried. So aversion, worried. So if we are in that state of mind, then we are not in a good state of mind. We are in a, tense state of mind, unhappy state of mind, unsatisfied state of mind, unpeaceful state of mind, not joyful state of mind. So therefore, agitated, our mind becomes a kind of troubled, agitated, and so therefore, if this is something I think we need to know, we need to know very clearly, because how I feel is basically based on, where I, how I focus my mind, and where I focus my mind at this time. So therefore, if I'm focusing my mind on things that happened which was not so nice, or focusing my mind on future that we don't know and we are a little bit worried, my mind is necessarily, not in the best state. It's a little bit disturbed. So, but that's not useful. That's not useful. First, that's not the experience we want. We don't want to have disturbed state of mind. We don't want unhappy state of mind. We don't worried and anxious state of mind, anxiety. We want happy, joyful, kind of a peaceful state of mind. But if our mind is focused on those things, we can't be. And if we think that, then most of the time we think that because of the circumstances, it's like that, the life has been like this, the circumstances has been like this. So what can I do? I have no, there's no other way. It's not possible. I have to feel like that. I have to react like that. I have to, I have to have that experience. There's no other choice because the life has been like that. And that's the problem, that's the problem, because actually it's not about, yes, the life is, what happened is important, how, but most important thing is, how we are, how we focus our mind now. Because if it's possible that we focus on my mind on something pleasant, something good, something positive, something, something nice. And at that time, at that moment, we can be okay, we can feel good, we can be relaxed, we can be joyful, we can be happy. Maybe it's for not long time, but for that time. And if we can train that, then we can train that. We can train anything. We can practice whatever. So therefore, the way to train is, first we have to know this. Where we focus our mind is very, very important. And to what I focus my mind is in my hands. Of course, I have habits. This habitual tendency is a big thing. But, it's I who decides. Nobody else decides, how I think and where I focus my mind. I decide my mind. So therefore, if I decide to, focus my mind on now, at this moment, even if at this moment I am kind of feeling quite disturbed or, angry or sad or hurt or whatever, if I say, at this moment, I'm going to focus not on anything else, but, just my breathing, for instance, which is very neutral. We are breathing anyway. We have to breathe out, we have to breathe in. Without that, we cannot survive. So instead of thinking about the problems that I had or, the difficulties that I'm disturbed with or, worries about the future, I just, aware of nothing, but just, breathing in and breathing out and just being in this moment clear, I can aware of everything around me. I can hear what is going on around me. I can see what is going on around me, whatever. But I just focus that and then breathe in, breathe out. Just breathe in, just breathe out. Or doesn't matter if I'm walking. I just, become aware of my feet going right feet, left feet, right feet, left feet, and right feet. Or whatever, at this very moment, when we can do that, we will find out, we will experientially find that actually, when I'm focused on something like that, all those things that bother me, all those things that I'm kind of worried about, my mind becomes lighter, my mind becomes more relaxed, my mind's more, if I have become very kind of tense and, a little bit hysterical, that becomes released and I become much more calmer. If I'm angry, the anger will naturally subside, whatever, So that shows that, all those things that's going on in my mind is very important, very strong, very real, very, but, how I experience things is not just what's happened or what will go on, but more about when I focus my mind. That's why, we also have this, practices like, visualizing or feeling the presence of a great enlightened being, somebody like Buddha or whoever, just feel the presence of that, say embodiment of compassion or something like that. Then if our mind is really focused on that, again, especially like somebody totally compassionate, like even that is not necessary. Like if we can think about, there are lots of even like, I've come across different kind of therapies where, you think about the event in your life which was very pleasant and very nice and things like that, and you just, you just feel that, you just focus on that, and then slowly, relax in that. And then, your mind becomes changed. Your mind becomes, calm and feel very good. So, this is an important indication that, how we feel is something that we can control. We can a little bit control. And so therefore, when you become mindful, you become aware, and then you can do what you want. Your emotions also, you cannot directly, like, if you are very in the kind of height of some emotions, you can say, I don't want this emotion. It will not go away like that. But if you learn to, become mindful, then, when this emotion arises, you focus your mind on something else. It could actually change. And, this is also letting go. We in Buddhism, we talk a lot about letting go. But letting go is not so easy, because if I say, I want to let go, then I can't let go, because I'm too much thinking about that. I'm too much, kind of, I want to let this go means I'm actually thinking about that. So I can't let go. If I don't think about it, then I have let go. So therefore, go away is not letting go. Letting go is just put your mind, a little bit somewhere else. Then you can let go. So therefore, this is just what I'm saying is actually how to train our mind to be mindful. Just being aware of now. Actually, we can train mindfulness in anything, in any time, and it's not necessarily that we have to kind of sit in meditation states and that nobody is there, and then we are very peaceful, and then that's the only way. It's not. We can train our mindfulness when we are very busy. Actually, the more we are mindful, the more we become efficient, because we are focused on what we are doing. Instead of our mind somewhere else and thinking about many other things, I'm just focusing on what I'm about to do or doing. That makes me much more efficient in doing whatever we are doing. So therefore, we can train mindfulness in whatever we are doing, whether we are, working, or we are talking, or we are, if you don't have some kind of mindfulness, you cannot do anything actually. You will make lots of mistakes, because then your mind will be all over, and then, things like that. So, but here, what we are trying to talk about mindfulness here, the training is that, first to understand the necessity of mindfulness as a, as a way of life, as a better way of life, as a, kind of not only being aware and, kind of present, but also to become much more efficient in doing whatever we have to do. And then it also helps us not to get not to get totally involved in so many other things, negative emotions and all kind of things. So to become a little bit more calm, more together, more collected. I think we call it collected, in English, kind of together, and then aware. The more we are like that, the more sane we become, more kind of, our mind is more together, we know what is happening. We know what I am doing. Less crazy kind of, so this is, the mindfulness. And, many things about our life is the mindfulness is the, the solution, So the more we, we train in this mindfulness is, of course, as I said, important for all trainings, but of course, especially for meditation, because meditation is, all about mindfulness. Without mindfulness, there's no way to do any meditation. So therefore, mindfulness and meditation sometimes almost, kind of together, but mindfulness, what I'm trying to say is that it's not only meditation, but every part of our, practice or training, mindfulness is essential. Yeah. And mindfulness is in one way not easy, because we are very much kind of used to get distracted and all kind of things, but another way, it's not that difficult. It's not about something that is completely out of our reach. It's nothing like that. It's our own mind, it's our own consciousness, it's our own thing. Just a little bit relaxed and aware, and be there. And again, one of the things I think people have a problem is that we sometimes become too, too aware, like they say, I don't know whether this is politically correct thing to say or not. They say, don't become like a new bride. Somebody who is just about to, or just get married, or, then she's too mindful, like what's happening, looks at the mirror maybe 10 times every minute, or, just to, not that kind of mindfulness. And then it's too much, too much mindful, like, what am I doing? What is I there or not? Am I distracted or not distracted? Then that becomes too much. That, not that kind of mindfulness. And sometimes I think when people feel it's difficult to be mindfulness, is when they become like that. Kind of too much controlling. Too much controlling is not necessary. It's about, 80% relaxing. I don't know how much, percentage is not, you can't really measure it, but mostly relaxing, and then little bit aware. Yeah, that's the important thing. Very relaxed, completely relaxed, and little aware what's going on. That relaxed is very important because most of the time we are too tense. We are only, like this and that, and then our mind is too agitated. Always, too agitated, too much worried or too much anxious or too much, should be this and should not be this and right and wrong, and then it wouldn't work. So therefore, very relaxed. The more relaxed, the better it is, because it's too much worried or too much kind of tense doesn't make things better. When you become too tense, you become kind of unsettled. The mind becomes unsettled. And then, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Maybe there's lots of things to do, even if there's not that many things to do, you feel there's so many things to do, I think I told this story once, or a few times maybe. Once I was in somewhere in a center, and we arranged a lunch or some dinner or something with some important person. And then there was a lady who was cooking for me, and then about some minutes before the time, I went down to the kitchen and says, "Is it everything okay?" He says, "No. It's lots of things to do, lots of things to do." And he said, "Can I help you? Your food is ready." He says, "Yes, food is more or less ready, but there are lots of things to do." And I said, "I will carry the food, to the table." And he said, "Yes, but there's so many things to do, and I have to change myself." So, at the end, actually what she had to do was to change her dress. There was nothing else to do. But she was so worried and so kind of, because she thought there were so many things to do. Then I said, you go and change yourself, and I will just carry these things to the dining hall. And she went and changed herself, and then, that was all actually. And that's most of the time it's like that. We are, when our mind is kind of not settled, then, there's so many things, and then actually, if you really coolly count, it may be one or two things, but, feel this, and then that makes things very, overwhelming. Everything becomes very overwhelming. So the moment you can calm down, you can relax, then it becomes, things become more clear, and then, and then a little bit aware, and life becomes easier. Life becomes much easier, so therefore, that is also the way to train our mindfulness and to use mindfulness. And then, of course, in meditation, but meditation is also, that there's nothing really other than that, but we have to talk about meditation tomorrow. Of course, there, meditation can be at very many different stages, and things like that. But you know, all these different kind of stages of meditation is is not very much useful to talk about too much, because if we don't experience it at the moment, it's no use talking about that. So if I don't have that experience, I cannot talk. And even if I talk, it would not be useful, because, I will be talking only from a kind of intellectual point of view. So, but mindfulness is something really, really essential in life, in every field, actually, in every field. And so therefore, these two things, right effort and right mindfulness, is, regarded as the two tools that we need for all kind of trainings and things like that. It's same with, with our kind of compassion and, kindness and, so, to, when we kind of, like, how we, what can I do in a situation, in any situation, say like, you are in a situation and you are upset or angry or unhappy, or, or a situation that, you don't know how to deal with, then usually we kind of become, and then that's the time to calm down and, and then coolly, a little bit peacefully pacify your mind, and then try to, recollect and then see how best to. So this is, it's, I think, not that difficult to understand intellectually. But of course, to apply this is a challenge for all of us, because that's not our habit. We have to maintain that habit, to bring that habit, to become, a little bit aware of this, is not, not, it's not something very normal, in our life, but it is something very, very, I think, essential and important. Because if we can a little bit do that, it helps us to, to first to calm us down. Second, to make us more clear. And then, even, see a little bit more clearly, what is the best way to communicate, or to react, because, just doing something or saying something or reacting the way that somebody else is, if somebody is saying something not nice, then I want to say something not nice, even more stronger than that, But if I become a little bit more mindful, then I say that wouldn't work, that would not be useful, because, that would just aggravate the situation. And what I really want is not to aggravate the situation, but find a solution for the best of all sides. And when that understanding comes, then my way of reacting can become totally different. I don't need to be, just carried away by my pride or by my anger or by my ego or things like that, but something much more, So therefore, to bring a kind of positive intelligence, kindness, compassion, good sense for the best of everybody. I think the mindfulness becomes really the ground on which we can build. So anyway, I don't know if I have again forgotten lots of things to talk about it, but I will stop here. And if anybody has any comments or additions to it or questions, you are most welcome. I see 2 hands already. Karmanobi is there, who is one of the most active.
Rinpoche, thank you for your teaching. I hope I'm not being a nuisance. It just occurred to me that when you were talking a lot about how we can be distracted and made unhappy by memories of the past, it occurred to me also, a lot of people take lots of photos and harbor lots of memories, pleasant memories of the past that make you feel good when you think about them. Isn't that a distraction, a very sticky distraction as well, from away from mindfulness? Do you know what I mean? It's not because it makes us feel happy. It's a distraction that can be quite attractive and sticky.
No, I think it's good. I mean, there's nothing wrong to remember things. It's when we are talking about mindfulness, it's not that you should not remember anything. You should have blank mind. That's not the idea. It's just that your mind is not totally absorbed by only something that's happened, and then you are, disturbed by that. That's the whole point.
Okay.
So if you have photographs, that's very good. If you you can sometimes look at it and remember things and enjoy that, and but you don't have to do that all the time. If you're only watching the old photos whole time, then of course it will be a little bit too much, I think.
Yeah. And I just have another quick question. Is it possible to be mindful when thinking about the past and the future? I mean, can you do that in a mindful way? Like say, I am thinking of the past, I am thinking of the future.
Yes, why not? Why not?
Yeah. So mindfulness can be applied to thoughts.
I think it's not, that's why I am saying this, relaxed, because it's not about allowing yourself to think about something or not and things like that. It's not that. It's totally different. The past is past. You all you remember that. There's you can't unremember your past. It's there. It's clear. It's no problem. But to hold on to some things and then just, only kind of bothered by that all the time, that would be not useful. Actually, by being mindfulness and, just you can even resolve things of the past with your understanding, because sometimes you have, you felt hurt by something, or unhappy because of something happened in the past, and then you kind of blame somebody or something for that, and then you think that I have this problem because of that person or because of that action or things like that. But if you realize that, yes, people make mistakes, people do things, that person doing that or saying that or not doing that or not saying that could have, could have caused your problem, but your reaction to that is as well the problem, no?
Sure.
And many times we don't, we don't understand, we sometimes misjudge, just I think it was today I was reading some kind of a little anecdote that there was a couple, and the young couple, and then he was, his job was some kind of army, so he had to go away. So after some time, he went to the army, and then this lady was, alone, and then few years passed, like he couldn't come back, and then one day she received a message that he's coming back. So she was thinking, what should I do now? I would. First, she thought I would inform everybody. Then she said, no, I don't want to inform anybody, because then everybody will come and, take all his attention. So I want to just keep him to myself. And then I want to really entertain him and things like that. And then she thought, what should I do? Then she thought that, well, actually, he likes to drink. He likes to drink some, whatever you call it, alcohol. But before, she didn't allow him to have alcohol. And therefore, they sometimes had fights. But she said, no, today I will allow him to drink. And when I found alcohol, and then she thought, oh, yes, I have actually hidden a bottle. She hid a bottle because he was drinking too much. So maybe it's still there. So she looked and she found the bottle, and then she put the bottle there. And then she thought, now how to do it? Then she put the bottle and she put a glass, and then she thought, oh, that time, he would not only drink himself, but he would want me to drink also. And I never drank, and I didn't want to drink, but this time I will also drink. So she put another glass there also. And then she thought, what else should I need? Then she thought, oh yes, he used to always need, ice with the drink. So I must find some ice. So she ran away, to find ice. And meanwhile, he returned, he came. And he entered into the house, and he looked into his room, and there was this, the room nicely prepared, and there was this a bottle of, alcohol with 2 glasses. So he thought, my wife never drank and didn't like to drink, so she must have a man, and she must be drinking wine together with him. So he began. So he decided that he should not be there, and he went away.
Oh.
And he never, many times it's like that. There are lots of times we misunderstand and we assume things, and things like that. And so therefore, there are lots of things we kind of just assume, and then most of the problems sometimes created from this kind of our own assumption. And many times there's no need to be so annoyed or upset or hurt or things like that, but we do. So sometimes I think looking back and through that also we can resolve.
Mm, mm, mm. Thank you. Such a complete answer. Thank you.
So, Michelle?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Thank you for the teachings, first of all. Very hopefully we'll have a useful life from tomorrow. The question I have is regarding mindfulness. If I think of me trying to be mindful, as you said, it's about not being distracted, being in the present moment and not wandering in the future or in the past, or being where I am and not everywhere else, and so on. So in a way, this is kind of creating the idea that there is the real thing that is happening now that I need to be with, and everything else is a distraction. But then when we receive the teaching on emptiness, in a way we say that all phenomena somehow, in a way, are empty, in a way equally empty. So there is no, the real thing that is happening now that I need to be aware of. So I'm not sure if it is misunderstanding or contradiction. I'm not sure if you can clarify how to see these two things.
This is you know, as I mentioned, you know, there's mindfulness, or mindfulness is important in view, in, you know, in action, all different kind of actions or discipline, in meditation, everywhere. Now, you know, this is it's a fact that, you know, our mind is very much kind of distracted most of the time. Distracted means like, you know, too much holding on to the things of the past, or too much thinking about the future. But it's not just thinking, it's just not being aware, but, you know, grasping. And from there come lots of our, you know, our fears, our anxiety, and therefore lots of, you know, kind of stress and unhappiness and problems like that. Now this,
why you do that?
This, you know, this is, you know, this is something that we can, you know, by training, you know, not too much holding on to what happened to the past, or not too much kind of worrying about the future. It's not to say that we can never think about the future. Of course, we should think about the future. We should make plans. We should, you know, make projects. We should have, you know, whatever, you know, we plan to become enlightened and liberate all the sentient beings. That's also there, you know, ambition and things like that, but not too much, so that we are, you know, a little bit more relaxed and things like that. That's very important. But in order to do that, you know, we also need to know, you know, what is this? You know, what is the past? What is the future? What is now? What is me? What is everything else? Yeah. And when that kind of question comes, then comes the view. What is past? You know, past is something that happened, you know, and gone. Yeah. Whether it's very, very nice thing happened or whether it's a very, very horrible thing happened, it happened. However much I hold on to that, I cannot hold on to that. Gone. Yeah. So therefore, is it useful to hold on too much? Because I cannot really hold on to it because it's not there. You know, of course, I can hold on with my mind and make it as if it's happened yesterday or this morning or something like that. But in fact, it's not there, no? So now the future is not there. You know, I can think all kind of things. I can imagine all kind of things. I can make all kind of things worrying, but actually we cannot do anything about the future exactly now, because only thing we can do is to do something now, which actually is now. Future is yet to come, so we never know what will happen. We never know what, is there a future or not, even we can't exactly say. But then looking at the, how things are, how the present things are, or anything is, how they are. So we try to find out what things are. Like, for instance, present, past, future, and present. We talk about, the 3 times. But if you look deeply, where is the present moment? This moment, gone. After that, next moment is yet to come. So if you really look deeply, there is not even a present moment, because present moment is going like this. Yeah. So therefore, when we have a little bit more deeper mindful clarity, then what to talk about past and future, even present, is nothing really there to hold on to. So if you look anything and it is made of too many things, it's too many parts and too many causes and too many conditions. So there is not. So if you deeply understand this, then it actually makes you become more clear about, not holding on to things. You cannot hold on to a grudge that happened in the past when you know that is totally not there anymore. That's completely gone. And even that happening that time, it was more like a dream, So to understand, if we deeply understand how things are, what I am, then it helps us to be much more, what can you say, clear and broad-minded. And so that's why the view is about that. But this view is, again, it's not, it's not like, it's not there. That's the wrong way of, another wrong way. Because when you say it's not there, then again, it's a very strong kind of, what can you say?
Nihilism.
Yeah, you are rejecting. It's not there. But what is not there? Not there. There and not there is just a concept. Everything is arises and dissolves, arises. You can't say it's not there. Everything is experienced. But you can't say it's there also, because it's, it passes like this. So therefore, you know. At the end, you don't need to philosophize. You just have to be mindful, and that's okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, Claudia.
Okay, first of all, thank you. You made me really laugh that you also watch Netflix. I mean,
Why not? I'm as lazy and as like any of you. You watch Netflix?
no, but I sometimes watch other stuff to distract me. So I was totally.
Netflix is a good way to distract, because like serials, you know, it comes one after another without stopping. So in one sitting, you can watch like 3-4 series if you want. Because anyway,
So my
I
question.
didn't watch any for last 6 months now.
Oh. Anyway, it made everything a little bit more easier. So anyway, my question is that you talked about like three types of laziness. I guess I have all 3 types, and I wonder, today you talked about when we meditate that we relax, but for me meditation is when I say, okay, now I sit there on my cushion, meditate, I'm not relaxed. I'm like, oh my God, what's gonna happen if I sit there? And I wonder if it's like the third part of laziness that I belittle myself, because I used to in my life that I distract myself to not feel myself or to not, and now you say you sit there and relax, and I sit there and I say, oh my God, I have to sit there. I'm not gonna relax. I'm gonna have all these thoughts in my mind and blah, 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 blah. So I know sometimes it just calms down, and maybe I'm still belittling myself. And I once tried to sit down and then focus on my thoughts, and the thoughts were like flies who just go away in every corner, and everything was really relaxed. But I still have the assumption. I'm now in the world of assumptions. I call it the world of assumptions. Maybe I'm belittling myself, but maybe it's there. I'm not sure if it's there, that I feel nervous doing it, because I'm, of course, used to, like many of us, to distract ourselves. So what I mean is, do you have a recommendation that I work on my mindset, that I'm not so stressed by sitting down and meditate?
I'll give you my method. I have received meditation instructions maybe when I was 10 or 9. And I was a little bit trying to meditate since then. And I've received all kind of instructions, you know, all levels of instructions, from the lowest to the highest, you know, the beginner to the deepest, Mahamudras and Dzogchen and everything. But that doesn't help me. The higher instructions I receive, I come to know that actually I have to go lower in my actual practice. So when I have received all the practices up to the highest level, I am at the beginning. And what is the beginning? Just counting my breathing. Yeah, so what I do is I sit down, and because if I start to meditate, it's very nice. I have not all kind of thoughts. No thoughts. I go blank. I go to sleep. So I meditate 2 hours. And then, when I wake up, it's already 2 hours. I had a very pleasant sleep, but I think it is not really meditation. Yeah. So that doesn't work. So now I do just very simple thing. I sit down, don't visualize anything. Don't look at my mind. Don't have any, philosophies or philosophize. When I breathe in and breathe out, I think first I breathe out, then I breathe in, count as 1. Then slowly breathe out and breathe in and count as 2. Then slowly breathe out and breathe in and count 3. I count up to 21. Yeah. Sometimes I am successful to count up to 21. Many times I lose at 10 or 12, then I start from the beginning. And that is very good because it's very honest, I cannot cheat. Otherwise, I can sit and I'm meditating for 1 hour or 2 hours. And I don't know how many times I slept. I don't know how many, I just, what happened. This is very, very, if I miss one, after 5, I can completely lose it and I don't know where I am. But if I can do this little bit, it makes my mind 2 things there, because I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm relaxed because I have to focus on my numbers, and my breathing. And second, I'm a little bit focused because I have to not lose the counting. Yeah. So I am a little bit relaxed and a little bit mindful. Yeah. And I think this is a good meditation to start with. You can do the same thing.
Thank
It's
you.
not difficult. It's not that you have to complete 21. It's not, and if you complete, you can do it twice, also.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And Brandon?
Hi, Rinpoche. I'm going to be very specific when I ask this question. So it's something that I've reflected on a lot. Is holding on to the positive view a distraction from mindfulness because you're in the future? So everything's positive, being positive. In doing that, you're in the future, but that is not the present. That is not mindfully in the present, because you're always having this kind of slight slant or twist of a positive perspective on things. So are they in conflict?
Why should you have a positive?
Why should you have a positive at all?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the teachings that you give is to have a positive perspective on life, as opposed to appreciate one's circumstances, appreciate this precious human life, etc. That's all positive, right? That's all using relative to be in the positive.
That's not the future. That's not future. You know, there are two things here. You know, we have this tendency to feel bad, you know, to focus on negative things. Like, you know, if I have a problem, then I focus my whole being on that problem. Yeah. And if I focus my whole being on that problem, then what happens is that as if I am, 100% that problem, there's nothing else, because my mind is fully and totally is, occupied by that problem. Yeah?
Yeah.
That is not right, because at that time you have that problem. You have lots of things going right. Yeah?
Mhm.
Like you are not sick, for instance. You are still kind of not that old or aged. You have a place to live. You have something to eat. You have lots of positive things, no? Not great positive things, but enough good things.
Yeah.
So when I am focusing on the problem only, then I lose all those, because all those good things is as if it's not there, because I'm only thinking about my problem, and my problem is so big, it becomes the whole thing in my life. Yeah, it should not be like that. That's the only thing I'm saying. Yes, you have a problem. There is almost nobody in the world who doesn't have some problems, right from the the presidents and prime ministers down to the most the low of the lowest person, from the richest to the poorest, from the most famous to the most insignificant people. Everybody has something or another problem, and you can't say that somebody's problem is less big or less, if you see is a problem, then it's a problem. It's a big problem. I had to understand this with in a difficult way, because one time in the beginning I went to England, and then first time almost I met a professor, and he came and said, I'm going to commit suicide because my university promised me to send to America for a conference, and they didn't send me last year, and also they didn't send me this year. I was shocked. I said, are you crazy? Going to America must be very nice, but it's not worth your life. You don't have money to go there. He said, oh yeah, I have lots of money, but it's it's the honor. What honor? If you die. I was shocked, but it's like that. If you think this is a big problem, this is a big problem. Even for somebody who has had more problems than that, would seem a small problem, but so therefore everybody has problems. So if you just hold on to that problem and make it big, it's no use. So therefore, we need to learn to, to think about and focus on other things that are not, it's not necessary to be so positive that it's very good and it's unnecessarily, or unrealistically positive. It's not like that, but some okay thing, if you can count those okay things and then focus your mind on that, you will feel better, of course, you have more than one problem maybe, but, all problems, like everything else, is also temporary, it's also changes. Everything changes. There's no guarantee that the future will be great. Future could be worse. Yeah. You will get older. You will be sick. You will be in hospital. One time you will die also. It's not that the future is very, very bright for anybody, actually. Yeah. But the future is future. When it comes, you have to face it. Yeah. But compared to that future, when you are in the hospital, your present situation is much better. No?
Of course.
So therefore, you have to appreciate this. So that's what we are talking about when we're talking about positive thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. John?
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you for sharing, and I find your words a blessing. So thank you for this. I guess what I wonder is, in many, many hours of meditation, I maybe have a second or two where I felt like I moved beyond my form and becoming something formless, and to fall back, into that awareness. And it makes me wonder, is there a time that you actually try and step away from mindfulness, and maybe when one dies and dissolving away from this world or this place, do we need to sort of at that point be stepping away from mindfulness? I guess I wonder, or is it really important to keep that sense of mindfulness and of that, I don't know, maybe I don't have the words, but the self or whatever it is, or can one go beyond this and still stay mindful? It's just confusing. When I think of it, it's just confusing, but it makes me wonder if it is important to always hold on to that sort of awareness, that place and state.
I think it is important not to kind of for me, the understanding of meditation is, of course, there are two things maybe. One is the technique, and another is, the truth, the truth, how things are, is not really from Buddhist point of view that you have to kind of you cannot grasp, you cannot say it's like this, because it's beyond that kind of. Whatever you said, it's like this is a concept. So you cannot grasp. So you have to kind of allow it to happen or relax. The technique is also that you know, I think we just be normal. We don't try to become something, you know. We just be our usual self, and you know, see what is what, you know, just but sit there in a relaxed way, you know, just a relaxed way, and then maybe a little bit slightly watch what's going on. Yeah, what's going on. And of course, the thoughts will come, emotions will come, you know, sensations will come, you know, all kind of, you know, arisings, you can call it. You know. So as they come, you just let them come and let them go. You know, you don't too much hold on to that. You don't necessarily analyze too much. You just relax in them, you know, as if you are watching, you know, on a kind of a lake or you know, mountain, where you know the clouds are coming and going, the birds are coming and going, you know, animals are coming and going, or cars are coming and going, or you just relax and let be. And when you do that, you know, totally relaxed and totally natural, not doing anything, not controlling anything, not you know, kind of manufacturing or, you know, trying anything. Just be that way. And that's kind of, we call it being mindful, because you're just aware and not judging, not making up, you know, trying to get rid of something or trying to become something or trying to just totally just being your whatever that is. Yeah. And that's not so, you know, it's nothing special, nothing to lose, nothing to have only one moment and then not there, you know. Just relax in that. Do that. I will not tell you what will happen, because if I say this will happen, again, then it's a problem, because when is going to happen? You know, what's going to happen? Things like, just do that. You know, this is just being in your true nature. You know.
Thank you for making it easier. I think it's expectation too, right? I think sometimes
Yes.
we're always wanting to have expectations of things.
Yes, expectations become then no meditation, because it's, you know, it's expectation. So meditation is not, you know, it's just being, yeah, and relaxing, just being.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Linda?
Hello, Rinpoche.
Hello.
So it's a very simple question, I think. The meditation you described with the 21 breaths that I try and do sometimes, if you get stuck, I mean, not stuck, but if say you've done 5 breaths and you feel you're not concentrating anymore, do you send yourself back to the beginning? It sounds rather punitive, but you do.
No, it's nothing too punitive or anything like that. You just start from the beginning. That's it.
Okay, so yeah. When you lose it, you go back to the beginning.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's the practice. It's not that you have to reach someplace, you know. You don't have to reach any place. Yes, 5 is good, 7 is good, you know, any number is good. And repeat
Okay.
up to 5,
Yeah.
or repeat up to
All
7,
right.
repeat up
Okay.
to
Yeah.
14, repeat up to 21, or repeat up to 3.
Okay. So you don't have to get to 21. You do it.
Not necessary.
No.
Not
No.
necessary.
Okay. Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you.
And Catherine?
Good evening,
I'll ask my
Rinpoche, and thank you for
Right,
your
but
lovely teachings
Thank you.
and for your patience as well.
I put
It's
the
wonderful.
courgette
So-
out for you when you want to do it. Prepare it.
Shall I? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, as you've been talking, I've been thinking about the present moment and how this relates to mindfulness. And a thought came through my mind that in a way there is no present moment. I mean, that just came into my mind. So we know the future, the past, we dwell a lot in the future and the past. And to try and maintain the mind in the present is a bit like sort of trying to balance a stone on a pinhead. For me, it's extremely difficult. And then I thought, well, what is the present moment? Is there the present moment? I mean, okay, I'll leave the question there. And then, so it seemed that when one is, I'm not talking about mindfulness when you're perhaps thinking about something and you're fully concentrated on that thing, but when you're in meditation and you are trying to withdraw the mind and bring it to absorb it within whatever object, the breath, whatever. It seemed that the present moment is really when we suspend our thoughts, you know, and the mental affliction, not the afflictions, the mental phenomena that come and go all the time. And it's only then that you're kind of in what you might call the present moment. But it's, as you say, it's, you know, things are arising all the time. So you can't put your finger in there and stop it, it seems. You can only try to withdraw the mind from.
No, you don't have to withdraw.
Sorry?
You don't have to withdraw anything. You don't have to absorb anything. You just relax. Yeah. The past, I mean, present is not there if you really search for the present, there's not there. But if you search, then past is also not there, because past means past from the present. Yeah. Past means, how do you define past? You know, if there is no present, there can't be past, because past is related to present. You know, something before the present is past, and something after the present is the future. So all this past, present, future is a relative term. It's a relative. It's nothing there on its own. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. You know, that's how things are. Everything is relatively there, not truly there, but relatively there. Yeah. Present is relatively there, past is relatively there, future is relatively there, not really there, and past is totally gone. You cannot bring it back. Future is not yet there. You cannot bring it forward. You know, you never know what but the important is how we actually feel now. You know, that's the thing. And how I feel is then I relax. You know, you can call it present, but actually you just relax, and not necessary to absorb, not necessary too much kind of you don't have to get rid of thoughts. You can't get rid of thoughts. Let thoughts come, let thoughts go. Just, you know, look at these thoughts as if you are looking at something in your front. You know, if you look from your window outside, there are lots of things happening. your mind is like that. Lots of things happening, but it's okay. Relax in that.
Okay.
Just if you can do that a little bit, try that. Don't speculate too much. Don't philosophize. Just
Excuse
do
me.
that. Yeah.
I don't speculate when I'm meditating. I mean, there've been moments when the mind seems to have stopped, kind of stopped. And it's just seemed to me that that was the moment of, if you like, the present, where it wasn't going forward and back, it wasn't going to future and past. But anyway, thank you, Goat Rinpoche.
Okay.
Rinpoche, there's one more question. I suppose it will be just the last one from
Okay.
Italian Sangha, which was translated, and I would be reading it. The question asks Martina, and she would like to know which is the right way to understand so-called miraculous events, such as, for example, Guru Rinpoche's life events. Which is the right way to understand it?
Oh, right way to understand. It happens. Miracles do happen. Actually, miracles are happening every day for all of us. You know, that we get up in the morning and alive is a miracle. No.
Lasso.
So it's okay. I mean, it's lots of miracles happen all the time. That's okay. When we have the problem of looking at the miracles is when we understand or when we think that there's only one way things should happen, and that's the only way things should happen. But the thing is not like that. You know, the things happen in many different ways. People see it in many different ways. You know, even one thing happening can be seen by different people in different ways. You know, this is always happening. I think it's like that.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you very
Good night,
much.
Rinpoche.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Grazie Silvia.
Notte, bye.
Night, totally. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Grazie Silvia.
Grazie Rinpoche.
This was great. This was desperate.
Tusind tak.
Good to see you.